Hi and welcome back to Pilates on the water, and in today's session we're going to continue with some beginners Pilates and get right back to basics. So get ready to come down onto the mat and we'll start with our warm-up. We're going to start down on the mat, so carefully roll yourself down onto the mat, and if you normally use a head block or a towel, just pop that behind your head. We've got those knees softly bent with the heels in line with your sit bones. Have your feet flat and a small space between your knees and your feet. We're going to find the abdominals and begin to work through those first. So lengthen your arms down by your side, reaching the shoulders away from your ears, stretching those fingers. We'll take a nice deep inhalation in through the nose and lengthen your spine from your tail to the crown of your head. As you breathe out through your mouth, we're going to activate those abdominals, drawing down with the belly button, down a little with the lower part of the rib cage, and begin to press your spine in towards the mat, imprinting the spine and finding the mat between the nape of the neck and the tail, so all the way down through the spine. Inhale through your nose to release back to your natural or neutral position. And we'll do a few more imprints. Exhaling to press down into the mat, activating those tummy muscles, and inhaling to release back to neutral. Just two more. As you breathe out to activate your abdominals, we're shortening the distance between the last rib and the top of the pelvis and just drawing those two towards each other. And we're also drawing the muscles in towards the center and the belly button towards the small of your back. And one more imprint. Finding those deep abdominals. And inhale to release. Well done. Now we're going to warm up the upper abs a little, reaching out wide to the side, lengthen your fingertips and place them just behind your head. Now we're staying nice and long through the neck, keeping those shoulders back and the elbows back. The same breath. Yep. Tell me when. An outward breath as we squeeze the abs towards the mat, and this time we're just going to float the head a little away from the mat into a hover position. Just keep the neck in neutral. Again, we're shortening the distance between the last rib and the top of the pelvis, squeezing those tummy muscles towards each other and towards the mat. Inhale to release your little hover or level one. Exhale, squeezing those abdominals, an abdominal contraction. And inhale. And again, exhale. And inhale. If you're not injured and you have no conditions of the spine or neck, we can start to progress that a little higher. So on the next exhalation, we're unpeeling a little more. The head, shoulders and the upper spine coming into our chest lift position. We've got a gentle flexion now through the spine and inhaling to repeel. Just two more. Exhale, level two, chest lift. And inhale. And one more. Exhale. And inhale. And you should feel that in those upper abdominals a little bit there. So next we're going to work the lower abs. Bring your arms back down by your side and lengthen those fingers. So you're reaching away from the shoulders. We'll engage the abs in exactly the same way. And for our level one, we're finding the mat in the imprinted position or supported position. We need a little draw up as well with that pelvic floor towards the center. Use your next exhalation to float one leg into tabletop position. And we need the lower leg level with the floor, the foot stretched and extended, and about a 90-degree angle behind the knee. That knee is roughly above the hip joint there. And then inhale to lower. Let's go to the opposite side, a little lift, exhale into your tabletop, and inhale lower. Each time you lift your leg, don't forget to do a little draw up with your pelvic floor as well. And lower. One more of those each side. And last one. Well done. Now we're going to float the legs one at a time into tabletop. But if you need to, just stick with that one leg in the tabletop position. Exhaling up, up, and really feeling those tummy muscles now. We keep pressing them down towards the mat and keeping those shoulders back. And just holding your tabletop for a moment before lowering and lowering. So just holding that tabletop for a breath or two. Up, up, and inhale. And we're really focusing at keeping the back engaged down into the mat, and those abs are working. Try not to allow your back to lift or hollow away from the mat, or for the back of the neck to shorten and the chin to begin to lift. If your chin is lifting up towards the ceiling, don't forget to put a head block or a towel just behind your head there. Well done. We feel those abs working, and to take a rest, you can just hold behind the knees and draw those knees in towards you. Now, another way of finding the deeper abdominal muscles is to keep hold of the grip we have at the moment and push the legs against the hands, pull the hands against the legs, and press down into the mat strongly with the small of your back. And we can really feel the mat under the middle of the back there, and those abs are engaged. And we'll come back to that position in a little while. Hold your position, and our next move is a warm-up called the Pilates 100. We'll work through the levels of the 100, and don't forget to take a rest if you need one. So you can just hug the knees in and take a nice deep relaxation breath and rejoin when you're ready. For our first level then, we'll begin with the feet down on the mat. We've got the support of the feet. We'll find imprinted spine, drawing downwards towards the mat, and just begin by floating the arms slightly above the mat. Now we want those arms as straight as possible, so they're quite rigid. You're bracing and working those muscles and really stretching the fingers. We're going to create a pulsing movement up and down, stretching out of the shoulder. Now we're working quite hard and vigorous, although the movement is quite small. We'll breathe in for 5 pulses in through the nose and out for 5 pulses out through the mouth. In 2, 3, 4, 5. In 2, 3, 4, 5. Now keep that pattern going. We're warming up through the body, and your temperature should be going up, your heart rate should be going up, and you can feel those muscles working really hard. Try to avoid flapping or wafting your arms, because we're really trying to get that circulation, that warm-up effect through the body. Now, if you want to, we can keep the head down on the head block or on the mat, or come into that chest lift position we found earlier. So we're unpeeling the back of the head, the neck, the shoulders and the upper spine, and reaching. Breathing in 2, 3, 4, 5. In 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're working those tummy muscles down towards the mat. Next, we can float either just one leg in the tabletop position or 2. And keep breathing, stretching into those fingertips, and hold your tabletop. In 2, 3, 4, 5. In 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 10. In 2, 3, 4, 5. And then hug those knees in and re-peel the head. And just take that deep relaxation breath. Now remember that feeling we had when we pushed the legs against the hands and the hands against the legs and pressed the small of the back down into the mat. And we want that gentle flexion now as you push down, engaging your abs for the beginnings of rolling like a ball. Now the move rolling like a ball, we're just going to do a level 1 or modified version of it. But if you don't want to roll on your spine, perhaps you're carrying an injury, I'll give you a modified version to do without rolling. So here it is, the modified version. We're pressing down with the back, imprinting the spine, lifting the pelvic floor, and then we're just going to let the feet come to the mat, stretch them out, and slide them back towards you. Exhale, engaging the tummy to come back into that hold position. And again, stretch and slide. And keeping the back down towards the mat and those tummies working. Otherwise, coming with me for our modified version of rolling. And on the next exhalation, pressing the small of the back into the mat, unpeel the back of the head, the neck, the shoulders, and then rolling up just to tap those toes. Now we should have a C-shaped curve through the spine. We've got a dish shape with the belly, and we're still holding that engaged feeling through those tummy muscles. Inhale to come back just to your chest lift tabletop version position, and then exhaling up. Inhale, keeping those shoulders back, and exhale. And it's just a small way we're rolling on the spine and massaging the back into the mat. Keep that lovely control. We're not throwing the feet over the head. We're not extending those legs. And we'll just do a couple more there. And on this next one, coming all the way up to seated, and then extend your legs. So if you were doing the modified version, just come up to seated now and sit on the top of those sit bones. Now we're going to lengthen the spine a little more. So for your level 1 spine stretch, if you have an injury or condition to your spine, stick with that level 1 where we're keeping the spine a little straighter. Inhaling to reach up, really stretch the ends of those fingers, pressing the knees down into the mat. Exhale and just reach forward a little in front of the vertical, lengthening the spine, but without rounding or flexing. Inhale and come back to your start position, and there's your level 1. For level 2s, if you don't carry any injury to your spine, we can come into a flexion. We'll inhale again to stretch. Exhale, scoop in with the belly. Imagine you're rounding over a beach ball that's sitting on your lap, and lengthening the spine over towards your feet. Try to keep the chin just softly in and lengthen the back of the neck, so you're reaching into the crown of the head away from the body. We'll hold that for an inward breath and just draw it into the back of the rib cage. And we're going to use the exhalation to repeal lower, middle and upper. We'll do one more slow. Inhale, exhale and over to lengthen. Try and release those shoulders. An inhalation to the back of the rib cage to lengthen the neck. And an exhalation to restack. And now a little bit quicker, slightly different breathing pattern. We'll inhale, stretch, exhale over, and inhale as you restack the spine. Just one more. Exhale over and inhale, restack. Well done. Reach up, open those arms out to the side. Rotate the palms to face the front and open the feet slightly wider for our spine twist. Exhale, exhale as you just turn towards the corner. Inhale to center. Inhale, center. Inhale, center. And one more. Fabulous, well done. And then lower those arms. We'll bring the feet back together, squeezing the inner thighs towards each other, spine stretch to roll down. Inhale, reach. Exhale, over. We'll take that inward breath into the back of the rib cage. And as you breathe out, we're working at really engaging the abs, maintaining that flexion. Stretch the legs away from you, shoulders back, and we're placing one vertebra down at a time. Lower, middle, upper, shoulders land, head nod, back of the head will touch down, and you can reach overhead. Inhale and circle it round. Well done. We're going to take the arms a little bit wider now, so at least as wide as your mat, into a low V shape out across the floor. Open and widen those shoulders, and again on the outward breath, lifting the pelvic floor, pushing down to really contract those tummy muscles and floating one leg into your tabletop position. And we're going to do a little bent leg circle next. So taking the knee across to the side, slightly down, across the body, and then back up towards you. More or less, we're trying to keep the lower leg horizontal, and it's important that the knee circles around the hip. You could move your opposite hand onto the top of the hip, just to make sure there's no swinging or swaying of the hips or pelvis, across or away from the mat, and then reverse it, and we'll breathe in for one circle and out for one circle. Open that knee, circle it round, nice wide circle, and one more. Well done. Now just hold on to the back of the thigh for a moment, again scooping down with the belly and keeping your glute down on the mat. Extend that leg and give it a good stretch up towards the ceiling, pressing the shoulders back. Open the hands back into your V shape and continue your circles. This time, see if you can circle your toes around your hip. Now, if you're struggling and perhaps your circle has slipped a little lower, perhaps it's down here, then return your leg back into the tabletop position and continue with the bent leg. But if you're able to achieve that vertical position, let's see if we can work that leg a little longer. Reverse it for 4, breathing in for 1, and it's a little more difficult to keep those hips static and still. You've got to work deep into those abdominals, pressing down with the lower rib cage, and also pressing down with your bottom leg. Well done. And then lower that leg carefully back down to the mat. Let's go to the opposite side then. We'll start with our bent leg circle. Across the body and out to the side. And again, if you want to, place your fingers just on the top of that opposite hip to make sure there's no lifting away from the mat, swinging or movement there through the pelvis or hip. And reverse. Breathing in for 1. And out for 1. We're really mobilizing that hip joint. In and out. Well done. Lengthen up then and give it a good stretch. Circling around. And again, if you're struggling to get that leg up nice and high, then just bend your knee. We've got to work this bottom glute as well to help keep that bottom leg pressing down into the mat. And for the other way. Breathing in and breathing out. And in and out. Well done. And just hug that knee in towards your chest. Now we're ready now to have a look at a couple of our ab series, our single leg stretch. We'll work through the levels and beginning with that knee coming towards you. Just use your fingertips to guide the knee so that the knee and your foot as well is in line with your hip. Be careful when we do our single leg stretches that the foot doesn't swing across the body. You want to keep that nicely in line. The stretch part of this exercise is the other leg. It's reaching as long as you can away from the body, stretching right to the tip of the toe. And we're lifting that pelvic floor. And we could just do a little slide for our first level, keeping the head down on the head block, touching down and sliding away, and just exchanging legs on the outward breath. slide it away. Carry on with your little slide. So we're using the floor, the mat, to support that movement away. Alternatively, have a go at extending the leg up and out a little bit higher from the mat at about 45 degrees. We're still breathing out, exchanging and stretching away as far as you can reach into that stretched leg. For our last level, we can float the back of the head, the upper spine, into our chest lift. And we can see now the leg has come much lower. It's just floating just above the mat. Exhale, holding your chest lift position, using those fingertips to guide the knee and the foot. And do take a rest by hugging your knees in if you need to. Let's take that rest now. Hug it in. And a nice deep relaxation breath. So the next one we're going to have a look at is our single straight leg stretch, or scissors. And again, we'll work through the levels, and you can stick with level 1 if you want to. Extending one leg down the mat then, really give it a stretch, pressing the knee towards the mat. We're engaging the abs, lifting the pelvic floor, and the other leg is now floating up into that hamstring stretch position. Keep those shoulders back. We're guiding the leg in a couple of times towards us just to give it that extra bit of stretch, and breathing out at the same time. And then using your tummy muscles and lifting your pelvic floor, stretch and control the leg down. We're touching down on the mat for level 1 each time as you exchange. And again, exhale, inhale down, exhale, inhale down. For level 2, see if you can switch those legs in mid-air, maintaining that lovely stretch right to the tip of your toes. We're working a little bit deeper into those abs now, and very importantly that we're pulling up with the pelvic floor towards the centre. For our final level, and if you're not injured and you don't have osteoporosis, we can roll up onto the spine a little. And we're in our chest lift position. It should feel that you could gently rock and roll. We're scooping in with the belly. We've still got the 2 inward pulls and breaths out. We've got the leg just floating there at the bottom, just above the mat. Inhale, switch. And just try and hold that upper body nice and still. A couple more. One more if you can. Well done. And hug it in to relax. Nice deep breath. And let it out. Fab, well done. Right, now we're going to work the side of the body. So rolling carefully over onto your side. We probably don't need the head block now. And just moving the hips a little bit towards the back edge of your mat. Lying down on the side, you can extend the arm away and rest your ear onto your bicep. If this is uncomfortable for you, perhaps you've got wider shoulders than I have, you could put your head block between your head and your arm. But try not to grab hold of your head or draw it forward. And just lining up those knees, make sure your top knee is as long as your bottom knee, your feet are stacked and they are slightly bent. So we're just going to lift that top knee a little bit away from the bottom knee, engaging that side glute, and then inhale as you carefully lower it back down. Exhale to lift the knees slightly away, and inhale to control it down. And make sure when it comes back down that the top knee is still as long as the bottom knee and it hasn't shrunk towards the back. We don't want to lose this hip towards the back. Keep everything engaged. Now the other thing to watch when you're doing a little clamshell is to make sure your heels are pushing downwards into the mat. So the bottom heel is in contact with the mat, and the top heel is close next to your bottom heel as well. And we're just doing our little clamshell, wafting in the tide, in the current, up and down, finding or engaging that side glute muscle. And one more. Exhale and inhale. Well done. Now we're going to make some circles with the top leg. So extend your top leg, not too far in front of you though, just above that front corner of your mat. Try and make your leg the same height as your hip, all the way along to the foot. We're going to circle that leg up towards the back edge of the mat, towards the back corner, down and around. Mind out, Lammy. And circle up, back, down and around. We'll do one breath in to circle and one breath out to circle. And two more in that direction and a breath out. Well done. Now let's reverse the circle. So we're moving from the back corner up and over towards the front corner now. So you're circling directly above the short end of your mat, not out in front of the body, but just lengthening. Keep reaching to the tip of those toes. And two more. And a breath. Nice, well done. We're ready for our side kick. Now, if you need to, you can move that bottom knee slightly in front of you, lengthen out that top leg and flex your foot so that the toe is pointing straight ahead. We've got 2 inward breaths to extend the leg in front of the body, then pointing the toe and exhale to reach that leg to the back. And breathing in and exhale back. And in and exhale back. Breathing in and exhaling back. And in and exhaling back for your side kick. Well done. And then just release that leg down. Give it a round of applause because it's done really well. And then we can switch ends of the mat. So again, just making sure everything is level, the hips are vertical and your hand is in front, ready for those clamshells. Exhale to lift that knee, inhale to lower. Now we're keeping everything immobile. There's no movement here through the pelvis or through the hip. So just watch this top hip isn't moving towards the back as you lift and lower that leg. And again, exhaling to lift. Inhale. And pressing those heels down. And one more. Heels down. Very good. Now we're going to lengthen out that top leg. Ready for our little circles. And we're reaching up, back, down and around. Circling above the short end of your mat. The bottom leg is just going to stay bent today and lengthen those toes. You've got a little bit more surface area then to balance. Make sure when you're circling your leg, it's above the short end of your mat and not in front of the body. We can breathe in for one circle and out for one circle and then reverse it. Breathing in and out. Nice. Let's do 4 more. In and lengthen the leg. So keep reaching all the way to the tips of your toes. 1 more. Well done. Lengthen that leg even more. And then flex your foot, toe pointing straight ahead. Check that your leg is staying level with your hip. As we breathe in, point, and exhale out to reach behind. Breathing in, point, exhale, stretch it back. In, and exhale, reach it behind you. Keeping those shoulders and hips nice and still. Let's do 1 more. Great work, well done. Coming up carefully then onto our all 4 or all square position for our prone tabletop. And we're just going to do a little stretch for the spine, a cat-cow stretch. Make sure the wrists are directly under your shoulders and your knees are under your hips. We're engaging the abs and lengthening up towards the ceiling with the back of the neck there. Everything is engaged. Make sure your feet are in line as well with those knees and they're relaxed. We haven't got the toes tucked under. Inhale to lengthen the spine, and we're in neutral position at the moment. And then exhale, scooping the belly button towards the small of your back and really push the spine towards the ceiling, contracting those abdominals. Now, as you breathe in, we're going to send the spine in the opposite direction. So we're hollowing the back now. The tail goes right up, back of the head, and we're pushing the chest and the belly button down now towards the mat. Exhale, working from one extreme, the deep flexion, into that extension. This is a very good position to do your pelvic floor exercises as well. So if you can, pull up the pelvic floor as you work from one extreme to the other. And again, our cat stretch, and then our cow stretch. A nice stretch for the spine. Another good stretch now for the spine, coming down onto the elbows and lengthen out the feet. Bring those elbows so they're directly underneath your shoulders. Make sure they're also parallel with the edge of the mat, so your forearm and your hands and your elbows are parallel with the edge of the mat. We don't want the elbows to be wider than the hands. Bring them right underneath the shoulders there. And we're just lengthening the neck. The back of the neck is reaching up. We're stretching into the crown of the head. The chin is coming in and we're squeezing the glutes, and you can feel those back muscles in Sphinx position. The feet are slightly apart, a little bit wider than the hips, and we're ready now to start engaging those abs again for a half plank or a level 1 elbow plank. On your next exhalation, tighten your tummy muscles, drawing your belly button towards the small of your back, creating a crunch of those tummy muscles, drawing in a little bit with the ribs as well, scooping upwards and slightly away from the mat. Unpeel the pubic bone and the top of the thighs, pushing down and forward into your elbows. Inhale to re-peel your half plank. And it's quite a strong abdominal crunch. We're really drawing in with those tummy muscles to create that half plank. Knees are staying down. And inhale to re-peel. We'll do 2 more abdominal crunches. Just allow that tail to stay down a little. Tucked under, and inhale. We've got a gentle flexion of the spine. We're working those arms and shoulders as well. Now see if you can hold your half plank position. And we'll count 10, 9, 8. Keep breathing. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And re-peel. Very well done. Now just working a little deeper into the back for our swan dive prep. You can take the feet slightly wider, particularly if you need to protect your back a little. And we also want those arms wider than the mat. So take them right out, reaching strongly wide into the elbows. Touch down with your elbows, lengthening the shoulders away. We'll keep the chin in and the forehead is rotated towards the mat. We can really feel the glutes and the back muscles working just to hold us in this position. We can start off by touching down with the forehead, and then as you inhale, use your back muscles to draw a little away from the mat. Keep your elbows down to begin with, and then use the back muscles to bring you a little higher, rotating the elbows slightly inwards, but definitely not towards the outside for that long stretch. And then exhaling, the elbows lead as we come back towards the mat. And again, inhale and pushing up, shoulders down, and exhale to come down. 2 more. Inhale, squeeze the back muscles and those glutes, lengthening up into the crown of the head. And 1 more. Inhale, squeeze, lengthen, and exhale. Fantastic, well done. Now we've got our little child pose stretch to lengthen the spine. I'm going to go through the 2 positions. So if your knees are okay, knees can go as wide as the mat, toes can come together, and just begin by sitting back into your sit bones. Just going to remove the thistles. So sitting back into those sit bones and lengthening the spine. Just let the back release a little bit to start with, and then you can walk the fingers out and start to lower the chest towards the floor. As the back and shoulders begin to release, your chest will come slightly lower. Don't drop your head down onto the mat or round your back though. If your forehead is touching the mat with the head and neck in neutral position rather than flexion, your chest will already be down on the floor and you'll be a lot more supple than I am. So we'll lengthen into those fingers and just see if you can let go with the shoulders as well. Now if your knees are not good, we can take the same position but in a modified position, lying on the spine and just lengthening down the mat. You can open the knees, soles of the feet together, and try and imprint the spine. So you're going to try and find the mat first underneath the whole of your back. Send those shoulders down and then reaching up straight ahead. Hands are shoulder width. Keep pushing down with the spine as we start to reach the arms lovely and straight overhead. Now if you've got any kind of shoulder injury, you might find it tricky to come into this position. There's slightly less pressure in this position than there is when you're on your front. So just lengthening into those fingers and out of the shoulder. Stretch. Take a few deep breaths and release. Well done. Now we're going to just finish with some roll-ups, and as I'm on a bit of a hill, I'm going to switch ends to find my neutral position. So we need to start off nice and flat on the mat and be able to roll up and down comfortably. You could start off with your head on your head block as well, and that's a good idea if you feel that you haven't got the control through the neck. Now first of all we need to imprint, so we're pushing down with the back in towards the floor. We're engaging the ribs and those tummy muscles. It's important to keep the shoulders retracted. We'll inhale to lengthen the arms, but don't lose the ribs or allow the back to hollow as you reach overhead. Exhaling, we're unpeeling as the arms come overhead, but keep the shoulders down on the mat as you come into your head nod. Now as we're lengthening into those fingertips, we can squeeze the tummy and begin to unpeel the upper spine, middle spine and lower spine, and you've got to straighten the legs and reach away from you at the same time. Lengthen those fingertips towards your feet into your spine stretch, and then inhale, we're restacking the spine, lower, middle and upper. Exhaling over. Inhale and exhaling all the way down. Stretch, inhale, exhaling up. Inhale to restack. Exhaling over. Inhale, reset those shoulders. Keep stretching the legs away as we re-peel lower, middle, upper. Inhale. And they do say
but one of these roll-ups is equivalent to 6 sit-ups, which is good news for us. And exhaling over, inhale, and exhaling down. Should we do one more for luck? 6 more sit-ups. And release. Well done. Hope you managed those okay. Now we're going to do a little relaxation to finish. So you can either find your way down onto the mat or come with me and do a roll down. All the way down. Unpeeling. Down to the mat. Well done. Now for our relaxation, it's important that we're in a comfortable lying position. So hopefully you can just relax on your mat, let your feet flop open, your fingers can curl, palms uppermost, and you can find a comfy position. You can put your head on your head block if you want to, but if you're not comfortable in the lying position, then just come into a supported seated position. And we're just going to let the body completely relax now and let the breathing slow down. Ready to let go.
Start your relaxation by doing a quick whole body scan to make sure all your muscles are relaxed and switched off. There should be no tension in your shoulders, your back, or your fingers and toes. Make sure your facial muscles are also relaxed. Allow your body to become heavy and to sink into your mat. We will ease out and relax each area even more deeply now, disassociating one area of the body from the next. Begin with your feet. Create tension in the muscles of the feet only by curling your toes and tightening the muscles of the feet, but being careful to keep your calves and your legs relaxed and heavy. Then completely relax your feet. Now focus on your calf muscles only. Can you tighten the calves without creating any tension in your feet or thighs? Relax your calves. Your feet and calves feel looser and more deeply relaxed than before. Now, without tightening any part of your lower leg, try clenching the muscles of the thighs. Can you keep your lower leg free from tension while you do this? What about your glutes? Are they still completely relaxed? It's quite difficult to isolate some muscles without affecting others. Now, just the glutes on their own. Relax your whole leg completely, but clench your glute muscles strongly. They might lift you a little higher, but try to keep the rest of your body relaxed. Hold them tight for a few breaths, then release the glutes and move to the belly now. On your next outward breath, tighten your abs and your ribs and squeeze them down towards the mat. Try to do this without affecting your arms or legs. They should still feel floppy and heavy. Release your belly and your chest, and on the next inward breath, arch your back up away from the mat. Your chest and belly should open and lift as your back contracts and pushes upwards. But try to use only your back muscles and keep your shoulders and arms completely relaxed. Now let your body sink softly back down to the mat. This time, disassociate the whole of your arms. Curl your fingers to make a tight fist. Straighten and tighten your arms and push strongly downwards into the mat. Be careful not to tense any muscles in your chest or your back, or to use your legs. It's just the arms only. Everything else is heavy and relaxed. Next, see if you can keep the rest of your body loose while you find your neck muscles. You can push the back of your head down into the floor, but keep tension away from any other area. Lastly, focus on your facial muscles. Screw up your face and make a tight cross expression. Purse your lips, clench your teeth, and push your tongue against the roof of your mouth. Screw up your eyes and your nose and make a frown with your brow. Hold this tension in your face, but check the rest of your body, including your hands and your fingers, are loose and completely relaxed. Now you can let go of the tension across your face too. Let go of the muscles and feel your brow and your cheeks smoothing out. Your eyelids relax, and there's no tension in the jaw. Your mouth can open. The tongue relax. Even the skin across your scalp becomes relaxed, and you feel your head becoming heavy as you allow the tension to seep away. Make sure there is no tension remaining in any of your muscles, even the muscles involved in breathing. The muscles around the ribs, they should also feel easy and lazy and almost still. Allow your body to become still as the tension melts away completely now. The muscles of your body are as one, united in their shared, relaxed state. Your whole body at peace.